Hello everyone, welcome to Cookroid and my name is Saurabh Kukreja. Today we are going to learn about arrays and how to reverse an array basically. That's our basic task. Now to do that, to understand how the reversal works, uh, I'll not directly jump into the code and I'll take you to the whiteboard and help you understand how we will be doing the reversal. Now, one way to do the array reversal is basically you create another array. Now, let's say arrays are in form of indexes, right? So let's say this is our array. Sorry, I'm bad at drawing. Yeah, skip that. 1, 2, 3. Now, one way to do that is you create a new array, empty array of same size, and you run the loop from the backwards from the size of the array until 0th position. So you can simply say that, okay, last index is 4, you put in the new array as first element, and then you put it as the second last element, and then because you're looping in, so you basically run from size to 0, right? That is one way, but obviously we don't want that. We want a little because this is like taking more space, you have to have new array involved in it, so we'll not go with this space, so forget about this one. Another approach that we will try is we will reverse it on this using the same array. We will not create a new array, and let's see how we can go about that. So we have an array of size 4. Arrays start from the index of 0, so I'm just indexing them 0 1 2 3. Now one way to go about it is you take first element and you take last element and you swap them, right? So what will it become? It will become 4, 2, 3 and 1. Now you again you move 1 point ahead from here and 1 point ahead from in this direction, and you swap these two different elements. You swap 2 and 3. What will it become? 4, 3, 2, 1, right? That's it. Our reversal is done. That's what we want. Now the trick is, how many times should we loop in? How many times do we have to swap the two different numbers? Now the trick for that is you calculate the midpoint, and that's it. Like if you have done these two elements or these two indexes, that is first and second index of a 4 size element, that means your all the elements are covered, meaning you have to calculate the midpoint. And how you can do that is you calculate the size and then you divide it by 2. So the size of this array is 4, so 4 divided by 2. Now this is even, so it works out pretty well, which is 2, and then you run your loop for 2 times. Now let's imagine another array where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now how will you calculate the midpoint of this? Because 5 divided by 2 would be, in integer value, it would be 2 again, right? So one way to go about it is you just do size minus 1. You take the size, you say minus 1, that will give you an even integer, and then you divide it by 2, right? So once you have the midpoint, you know how many times you have to run from in this loop basically. So first loop will do 1 and 5, second loop will do 2 and 4, and because it's a odd number, 3 will remain at its own place. Cool. I hope you understood. Now let's move on to the code in here. So we already have the array they are giving us. We'll just make, I want to keep it modularized, so I'll make another method and I'll say reverse array. Oops, reverse. I'll take array as input, array of integers. Now the first point was to calculate the midpoint. Val midpoint equals array dot size minus 1 divided by 2. The last index, right? What elements are we swapping it? So the last would be val var last index. What will this be? Array dot size minus 1. This will be our last index, because first time what we have to do is we have to swap the 0th index and the last index. Now let's try to run the loop for 0 I in 0 to midpoint. Now we have to swap the two numbers. So to swap, so we need to swap 1 and 5. So what we'll do is we'll make another, let me write it, or maybe I'll just, let me write it here. So again, 1 2 3 4 5. Now to swap 1 and 5, what I'll do is I'll create another variable temp. I'll use that. Let's see. Where temp equals array of I, array of I equals array of last index, and then array of last index equals temp. Now these two numbers are swapped. 1 and 5 is swapped. Now what we have to do is, this is I and this is last index. So I will automatically increase because it is in a for loop. We have to decrease the last index. So what we'll do is we'll say last index minus minus. That's it. This loop will run for till midpoint and it will reverse it. Now we just have to print the array. So to print, oops, what happened? Yeah, so to print, we'll again have another loop, and for I in 0 to array dot size minus 1, print, we'll just print the array of I, and because it needs a space, we'll give a space. That's it. Let's try to run it. Oops, yep. Yes, awesome. Let's submit, and meanwhile it run. We'll just come back to our whiteboard and see what we did. So first we calculated the midpoint. Step 1 is to calculate the midpoint so that we know how many times we need to run the loop to reverse or swap the integers or numbers. So once we know the midpoint, we will run our for loop and we will keep swapping first and last integers, and then we will decrease the last index count. That's it. Yes, it says all test cases ran successfully. That's it for day 7. Stay tuned for day 8 challenge. Thank you guys.